suffering from migraines? Well, I'm so happy to welcome back Operations Manager Christine Gorgas with the Gulf Coast Clinical Research Center to talk about migraines this morning. I know this is a hot topic. A lot of people dealing with this. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. So this is so interesting about migraines, and I'm learning a lot just in the commercial break with talking, because I know a lot of people struggle with migraines.
Yes, 36 million Americans struggle with it on an ongoing basis. It's the 9th leading cause of disability in women alone. Typically, women experience migraines more than men. And unfortunately, there's no cure right now for migraines, and there really isn't a good predictive of who will receive migraines and who will not have migraines throughout
Now, you
life.
mentioned women. Do women have it more than men? You know, when you talk about that, is it hormonal? I mean, that's where I would assume.
It's possible. A lot of it has to deal with diet, has to deal with stress, sleep, environmental factors.
Okay.
There's a lot that can go into triggering it. But typically, when we look at migraines, we see women have it twice as much as men do.
All right, so let's talk about a headache versus a migraine, though.
Yes.
How do you know if you were actually suffering from a migraine?
I think anybody who's ever had a migraine would tell you they definitely know. But typically, when we're looking at the literature, a migraine is a severe throbbing pain in the head. It's usually localized, where a headache can be more diffuse throughout different areas in your head. But the big thing is migraines are usually associated with other symptoms as well, such as sensitivity to light and sound, nausea, and things of that nature.
Wow. All right. So because there's no cure, there's no, I mean, what do you do to help these people who come in and say, I'm suffering from migraines?
Well, let's take a step back. There are two different types of migraines, and we had talked about this at the break as well, that you have the migraine with just the pain and that sensitivity, and then you have a migraine with what's called aura, where you have those flashing lights that precede the migraine, that pain. There can be that feeling of numbness or tingling in your face or your hands, disturbances in your speech, even unusual sense of smell or taste. But when we look at the treatments, unfortunately, since there's no cure, treatments fall into two categories. It's either treatments that help with the pain associated with the migraine, or preventative treatments that are designed to try and reduce the number of migraines patients have on an ongoing basis.
Well, and how long do they normally typically last, migraines?
Migraines can last anywhere from a couple of hours to honestly a couple of days for patients.
God,
so
help these people.
It can be very debilitating for a subject, not only from a social-economical type of standpoint, where we're looking at missed work, missed productivity.
Because people can literally shut down.
Absolutely. A lot of times you have to, in order just to deal with that pain and the symptoms that you're experiencing. There are figures that it can be anywhere from the tens of billions to the hundreds of billions in lost productivity for Americans because of lost days of work and productivity for work. Not to mention the missing out on life, missing out on special events with your friends and family. It can definitely be something that is very debilitating for
long term. Is this something that your office is pretty eager and interested in doing more research on? And I can imagine so.
Only 12% of people who suffer migraines are actually on a preventative treatment to help reduce the number of migraines that they experience.
Only 12%?
Only 12%. And a lot of that has to do from lack of efficacy from the medications. A lot of the medications that are used are actually what we call off-label uses, meaning the FDA hasn't approved them for the preventative. It's just primary care physicians have found that if we use cardiovascular drugs, if we use Botox, it as actually Botox is one of the preventative drugs that helps reduce the number of episodes that patients have. Unfortunately, they're not very effective, and they have a lot of side effects. So we really are looking at new medications to really help patients prevent the number of migraines they have on a monthly basis.
Well, what's the take home, for those watching this morning who, if I'm sure if they're not suffering, they know somebody who is. So what would you have them do?
It's a very real disorder that really does affect you on so many different levels, and there's more and more research every day to help with this. They can always give us a call. We're happy to talk to them if they're interested in possibly participating in a new trial that is looking at a new medication to help prevent the number number of migraines that patients have on a regular basis.
Well, again, I love how passionate your team is there about getting to the bottom of these things,
Yes,
helping
absolutely.
people out. You always say, you know, don't never be embarrassed or anything to call.
No.
It's so thank you so much.
You're
it's such
welcome.
a great resource here in our community. We love when you're here. I always learn so much from you, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And of course, for more info, you can head to our website as well, fox4morningblend.com. We'll send it over to Steph.
Yeah, I've been there before with those migraines. I hope you guys can get some relief with Gulf Coast Clinical Research. Okay, talking about headaches, is your messy home maybe giving you a headache? Up next, how MaidPro is here with your prescription to cure the mess. Stay with us.